chief explain.
Yeah, so we currently have 4 task force that are operating. Florida Task Force 1, which consists of Miami-Dade Fire Rescue frontline firefighters, as well as 3 other task force from within the state that are here. We did utilize as well task force members from Mexico that are here, so we kind of incorporated them or injected them with our current task force as we go out, and with search groups, so we utilize them in different capacities.
So they're here now, they're already on the
Yes, sir. They're here and they're assisting with our task force that we go out. Based on the members, we put them with other search and rescue groups, and then that's how we deploy them during their working group, their working operation.
When did they arrive?
They came here mid-morning is when they arrived, and we deployed them at 12 o'clock. Our operational periods are 12 hours, so right now we're going from 12 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight, and then we rotate the next search and rescue crews going through. So we inject it, and then, yes, there's also members from an Israel team as well that we also are injecting. So I don't have the exact number of staff or personnel that we're utilizing, but we are deploying them with our current search and rescue operations.
So it's just Israel and Mexico at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would like to clarify that there's only a certain number of people that we can put out there, and so it isn't that we're putting out more people, it's that we're rotating them. So just to be very, very clear, we can't have people swarming all over this rubble. It has to be very, very carefully determined, and we are using the same numbers as we go forward.
Hi, Wendy Rose from USA Today. There's still a lot of concern that whether or not the building is stable, what's still remaining standing is stable, if it's danger of falling on the first responders. Can somebody talk about the stability of the building?
So we have structural engineers that are on site, and they're evaluating everything around, because of course our greatest asset are our search and rescue team, our firefighters. So they cannot be taking undue risks, and part of that is evaluating the building structure as well. So if there were concern that the building was unstable, that would affect the search, but they are continuing the search at this time. Okay.
Go ahead.
Mayor, I have a question. Normally when this kind of project happens, there is a pattern of like going from phase 1 to phase 2. How many hours does it normally take, and what's the next step? I mean, will you continue on the same thing of the search and rescue for tomorrow?
Yes. So we're on search and rescue. Full speed ahead on search and rescue. And you ask, why do we have hope? We have hope because that's what our search and rescue team tells us, that they have hope. They see opportunities. They see fissures that they could go in. They see places that they could break through. And as long as they can do that, and as long as they have encouraging signs like the knocking sound that they've heard, then we will continue. People have been discovered in rubble over a week beyond the date of incident. And so they have experienced that. They've been in places where they've rescued people in that period of time. And so that is why we are continuing our search and rescue.
And one last question. Go ahead.
Yes,
I'll get you one more.
yeah, Ryan Nelson, NBC6 News. Question for the fire chief. Earlier this evening, we saw a lot of smoke coming from the building. Can you maybe just explain why exactly you were seeing that, and does that impact the search and rescue effort?
Yes, it absolutely does. I mean, there's so many hazards we're encountering, and the fire just compounds it. The fire is deeply seated, deeply rooted under the structure. So you've seen it in and out, and unfortunately we keep having flare-ups of it, and it's just not accessible. So those are the difficulties. That's another challenge that we're encountering, and you know, we're constantly going in aggressively, trying to get as close as we can to extinguish that fire, but unfortunately we haven't been able to get that extinguished 100% yet.
What's burning?
Those materials is unknown. I mean, yeah, we can't see exactly what's there, so I don't know what products are. That area would be difficult. I mean, depending on the fire, what's there, yes. I mean, absolutely a challenge. No, you know, I'm not able to distinguish what the temperature is. It's just that it's so, you know, so deeply seated. That's the challenge there. We can't get the water, you know, right on the fire, which is what we need in that circumstance.
But in other words, it's a localized area that's on fire, or is it multiple
We believe so. I mean, we believe from where we're at, it's localized to a certain area. But we can't pinpoint exactly where it is because, the location, we, unable to access it and see it.
And last question right here.
The fire chief, is there, the crews were spending a lot of time in one particular part of the debris field on like the northeast side. Is there anything you can give us with respect to details what you heard or saw that led them to focus that, and then what the outcome of that was?
Yeah, well, again, I mean, this is going to be constantly evolving, with our searches. So any glimpse of hopes that we have, any signals that we see, that's where we want to primarily focus. This is where we've been focusing for immediately with the operation, looking for those voids. What we're seeing on the outside is, just strategically, we're starting to expand our search patterns and what we're looking for within the pattern. So that's why you're seeing us spread out in specific areas to do searches there.
There was nothing specific that caught your attention there or your crew's attention?
No, I mean, unfortunately, nothing specific. We're still doing our sonars, we're still doing our cameras, still using the dogs. Sometimes if the dogs do pick up a scent, we might focus more on that area, but nothing specific.
Not a question, just a request. If you guys can find an alternative spot for the press to kind of point cameras
Yes,
on.
Carlos. They're asking about an alternative site for the press.
Mayor, can I ask one more question about the people that are unaccounted for? And can you explain how, excuse me, Mayor, can you explain how the 159, how you're trying to, through the process of elimination, take some names off that list of people who might not have been in the building?
Correct. Go ahead.
Yes. We have a running list at the Family Unification Center. We're working with our 311 and also working with the families that are there, and that's how we start deducting from the list or adding from the information that we're getting from the family, from 311, from the roster of those that own the building. Also, people rented there too, so there's a lot of that as well, that ambiguity of who was renting at what time, and that's how we're running the list.
Carlos Rosario, Lieutenant with the Miami-Dade Police Department. Someone had a question regarding the locations for the press. So first I want to start off by saying that we thank all of you for being here and telling the story. This is very important for the entire community, and it really helps us tremendously in doing the fine work that we're trying to do. We talk about you every time we have our meetings, and understand that you want to be in locations that you want to tell the story and be able to tell not only through your words but through your cameras. There is some areas, for example, there was an area that we were set up earlier at that I talked to many of you, where this is an area that, as you know, there's large vehicles, machinery, large fire trucks that are trying to get through and they just couldn't. And we can't lose focus of what's really important here, and that's for our first responders to do their job. We are going to be looking for other options and other alternatives to be able to make it more comfortable for you guys. So we're going to continue to do that. The options are limited because we don't want to have you too far. As it is, the location we're at right now is pretty close. You're not at the angle from the side of the collapse. However, you have to understand the reasons why. We were there for a little while, and it just got to the point where our rescue personnel and our first responders need the space to work. But well, we have to discuss that because there's a lot of factors that come in. There's a lot of press here. This is not one or two cameras. There's hundreds of cameras here. But we are with you. We're not against you. We're definitely going to look at every option, and just follow us too on our social media channels for any further instruction. Okay? Thank you very much.
And now spokesperson for the Haitian Affairs for the Mayor, Cassandra Arnold, will be providing the Creole translation.
Bonsoir, nom c'est Cassandra Arnaud, directeur des affaires des Haïtiens pour magistrat. Magistrat voulait dire communauté a merci pour tout bagage yo fait. Nous voulons connaître que nous avons des familles, nous baillons manger 2 fois par jour à hôtel. Nous localisons 127 résidents, mais nous toujours besoin de joindre au moins 159 résidents. Pour rapporter un monde qui disparaît, en soir que nous connaissons que monde ça dans bonne santé, ni dans sécurité, please, s'il vous plaît, Relez nous dans 305 614 1819. Encore nous voulons dire merci pour toute prière avec pour toute bagarre à faire dans la communauté. Merci.
Thank you, everyone.